Doing
great. How
Doing
you doing?
great. I'm good, thanks.
All right.
I saw you look at my belly, Justin. He said, how we doing? I'm pregnant. So he's like, how's it going over there?
Both of you.
The two of you. Yes, that's right. We're great. So Brain Injury Awareness Month. I know we deal with a ton of brain injuries when it comes to a personal injury law firm, obviously, because brain injuries are very serious. So Justin, I'll let you start us off. What have we kind of seen with brain injuries and what's some of the most common ways people get them?
Well, these injuries run the gamut in all our case types. We'll see them, of course, in motorcycle cases. We'll see them in our car wrecks. We see them in our slip and falls. Okay. So they can happen to anybody at any time. And, as part of March Brain Injury Awareness Month, we try to get the word out here. And if you've seen our previous videos, you and I have done some. We've done shorts. We've done all kinds of different content, podcasts, trying to get the word out.
Yeah.
Try to educate everybody on the front end on what to look out for if you do have a head injury. Not just in an injury situation, but maybe if your child has one at sports, or if you're playing sports, or if you just fall at home. And that's kind of why we're going to shoot this episode today and kind of say, hey, how do we work these cases and what kind of treatments are out there and kind of how we do it.
Well, even just symptoms and stuff. Because I know we've talked before about you could have a brain injury and not know it and kind of let it just go.
Right. So that's the biggest thing with a brain injury, right? Is the symptoms may not appear until 6 months to a year down the road.
Jeez.
And you might say, hey, I'm fine. That's what I always tell people too in our videos. Don't be tough, right? Go to the doctor, tell them everything, right? Because the symptoms won't even appear. And when they do appear, if you don't even know what to look out for, you won't even realize that it's a brain injury. And so, that's kind of the things that we do. And we teach our clients that. We teach our paralegals. We train them on what to look out for when they're talking to our clients. And
is that difficult to kind of fight later on? Like, say symptoms don't come up till 6 months to a year, but they've already told everybody they're fine. They've said they don't need to go to the hospital. Say like in a car accident, can you still fight that later on?
Well, absolutely. So a defense attorney, a defense adjuster, they're going to say, hey, that's a gap in treatment. That they didn't complain about it in the ER, for instance, and now they're complaining about it 6 months later. And so that's where, we have to step in and say, did we investigate the scene at the wreck? Was there any kind of notice, like a broken windshield by chance? Did they make a comment maybe to EMS personnel? Maybe not so in the ER. It just didn't get documented correctly. But no, it is difficult. Yeah. But we have to make sure that they're getting the treatment that they need. They are documenting it now once they do realize it. And then, moving forward, once we get a proper diagnosis, we're able to say, hey, this is a part of your damages model.
And sometimes we got people who are so hurt at the beginning, like at the wreck, they've got broken bones or surgeries or things going on. And it's not that they didn't go see a neurologist for their brain injury, but they are complaining like, I'm having headaches, but those things are sort of just, those symptoms are being overlooked at that time because there's more serious things going on. And so it's not until we get all of those records and they're still having these symptoms that we piece together that they had a brain injury this whole entire time. And so that's happened a few times.
The other thing that I see a lot is that when the accident initially happens, the clients have often never been in a situation like that. This is something new for them. They're having to navigate talking to the attorney and the adjuster, and they have property damage. And here they are with their car totaled, and they're having to shift their lives. And you're so caught up thinking about how you are impacted in your day-to-day life of the loss of a car and how you're just going to make ends meet and get to this one place that you're not thinking about the fact that you have a headache, the fact that that concussion, you're still having headaches later, or that your memory loss is going on. You're not really thinking about those things.
Or you're thinking it's something else. You're stressed out or, whatever.
How many times do you forget something and you just think, oh, it's because I'm getting older.
But then it gets worse over time.
Right.
And that's, I think, when it's scary. It's like, how's this been going on?
Well, and you guys do kind of additional training on brain injury type stuff, right?
Well, we just got back, the whole team, and John Paul went with us as well. We went to San Diego to the TBI Med Legal Conference. Went out there for 4 days, and we try to do that every other year, just to keep up with what new therapies are coming up, what new litigation strategies are taking place to add more value to our
Well,
and
tell folks what a TBI is.
A traumatic brain injury.
So is that different? Is a traumatic brain injury different from a brain injury?
Well, and that's the big misconception that people have, because what may happen is you go to the ER and you get diagnosed with a concussion, or they could even say an mTbi, which is this misnomer that they put out. The medical community is just called brain injury, mTBI, which some people would call mild traumatic brain injury. But the issue is there's no such thing as a mild traumatic brain injury.
Right.
A traumatic brain injury, a brain injury is a brain injury, right? And you have to make sure that you diagnose it and you treat it properly, or bad things can happen as more symptoms and everything sets in and you don't get the treatment that you need.
Well, I imagine that would be very difficult if it concerns a child too, because they can't properly communicate kind of what their symptoms are. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. We've got cases like that too, where and not just with children, but with everyone who has a traumatic brain injury or a concussion. Oftentimes the client or that person will tell you that they're fine because they don't notice that their mood has changed and they're more angry now, or they don't notice that they're as forgetful. But, we'll pick up the phone and talk to the client's mom, and their mom says, she has not been the same. And it's not just her leg that was broken. It's everything about her. It's the way she interacts with people now, and she can't remember things all the time. So it's not just with children, but that happens because children, with all of their symptoms, they can't really, they're like, I don't feel good, but you can't really get what exactly that is. It's kind of like that for everybody. It's like, I don't feel right. And it really takes talking to the people around them to put together that it is a brain injury, and you're still not getting better. You're getting worse over time. And that's when we're really like, you need to go see a doctor, because there are things they can do to help.
Well, and that was going to be kind of my next question. If someone is starting to show these symptoms of these irregular headaches that are kind of showing up way later, and they bring that kind of to our attention, what are kind of the steps to show that they have this brain injury?
Well, what we want to do is get them into a neurologist as soon as possible. And the other big issue here at the coast is neurologists are very few and far between here. And so we got to get that appointment as soon as possible, because sometimes our clients are waiting 3-4 months just for an appointment. And if we can't get them in here at the beach, we got to get them down in Charleston, MUSC. And depending on the severity of the case, we'll work with each client. Now, we train all of our paralegals. So we go to these conferences and we come back and we train our staff, we train everybody, our intake team, our paralegals, our case managers, and we make them do a 90-day, this touch on Sarah's point, a 90-day traumatic brain injury checklist. It's 5 pages, so I brought it out here. But it's 5 pages, and like Sarah said, the most important thing is we don't want to ask the injured person. We want to ask someone they live with, their parent, their loved one, their spouse, their brother, anybody, a coworker even. And we want to identify all these different aspects of their life and see if they notice different changes. Because the brain injured person, it won't be aware to, it won't be commonplace for them to notice all these different aspects. And a lot of times they'll also say, no, I'm fine, again, trying to be tough because you just don't realize it.
So do you have both? You have them do one, and then you
absolutely. That's my next point. You give it to their spouse, it's a totally different checklist, right? And so when my paralegals see this, they're going to say, hey, Sharde, hey, Sarah, Justin, boom, we got an issue here. And that's when we got to get on the phone, and we got to make sure they're getting that appointment with a neurologist.
When life gets ugly, justice is